Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Friday. This is Seattle Now. This week, autonomous vehicles are making their way to Seattle, but they have to have people in the driver's seat for a while. Speaking of cars, the number of cars in Seattle has plateaued in recent years. And a tale of two memberships. Costco is opening its doors an hour early for its highest tier members. South Seattle Emerald founder Marcus Harrison Green and science journalist Jane C. Hu are here to break down the week. But first, let's get you caught up. There is a lot of stuff happening this weekend. City leaders are holding a grand opening for Seattle's new waterfront park tomorrow. There's a ribbon-cutting ceremony at 10 a.m., followed by live music, dance, and other performances. The waterfront project began in 2019 following the demolition of the Alaskan Way Viaduct. It cost $806 million from the city, state, and private donors. Also happening this weekend, the Live at the Neptune performance we talked about this week is tonight. Rub takes the stage at 8. If you collect physical media like DVDs or VHS tapes, or maybe just like to kick it old school, this one's for you. On Saturday, Scarecrow Video will hold its annual parking lot sale. Members get in at 11. It opens to the general public at noon. And if sports is your thing, the Seattle Storm takes on the New York Liberty at Climate Pledge Arena tonight. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. And finally, football's back. The Seahawks kick off their 50th season this Sunday at Lumen Field. They take on the San Francisco 49ers at 1:05. Check back for more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. It's Friday again. Students are heading back to school. Fall is waiting in the wings. Marcus Harrison Green is here. He's the founder of the South Seattle Emerald and publisher at Hinton Publishing. Marcus, nice to see you.
Always great to see you, Trish.
Thanks for coming in. Jane C. Hu is here. She's a freelance science journalist. Jane, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you two, before we dive in, who's ready for a 9 a.m. hot dog soda combo? If you want first tracks, you better be prepared to spend. Costco locations across the country are opening up earlier for VIP hours. It's a new perk for its highest paid membership tier. Executive members can now buy in bulk for a whole extra hour, beginning between 9 and 10 a.m. on most days and 9 to 9:30 on Saturdays. All right, you know, depending on when you go, Costco trips can be pretty chaotic, to say the least. Both of you, does the higher tier membership seem worth it for $130? Is an early entry a big draw for you?
I'm too cheap to have a Costco membership. I have been successfully mooching off of my loved ones' Costco memberships for years. My first instinct upon hearing this is, what is this 9 to 9:30 situation? Like, is this supermarket sweep? Like, I feel like that's not enough time to do anything at Costco.
The Saturday 9 to 9:30 doesn't feel like it's that much
not
of a
worth
perk,
it.
especially since Saturdays at Costco are like a combat situation.
No.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like exclusivity, like it has like an appeal and sexiness when it's like a nightclub. But I mean, when you're entering a warehouse with rotisserie chicken, like is that, I mean, I just don't see the draw. Like, and I am a Costco shopper. My partner's son is he's on a swim team.
Yep.
And so we go every week to provide snacks for the kids and so forth. And yes, I tell you, it is full of chaos. And yeah, the exclusivity I don't think would make it better, though, I'll say.
I have a thing about getting to places first, early, first tracks. Like, I like to be first on the mountain, first on the trail, first in Costco. So this, I knew it was happening, but it totally took me by surprise. And I ended up sitting in the parking lot, angrily trying to do the math about whether or not this was worth it, because I was outraged that I couldn't get in first. That's because I had done the work to show up early.
So do they usually open at 10 and now they're just doing it earlier?
Yes. And they were, and this has been kind of, okay, the trick at Costco is they generally will let you in a little early anyway, right? But now with this new situation, the buffer is very gray and the zone is wrong. And even though it was a soft launch, they were turning non-executive members away.
Wow. Oh my God. Costco used to be like the great equalizer,
That was
right?
the thing.
And this is, I don't know, this is very much George Orwellian sort of Animal Farm, where it's like all are equal, but some are more equal.
This two-tiered membership doesn't really lend itself to the formula.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've always felt like it's kind of an exclusive club. I'm like, I'm not made of money. Like, I'm not going to, you won't even let me in unless I have like a card. And I remember like trying to pay with friends. It's like complicated because they won't let you use your own credit card. It's like you have to pay under a member's card. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this has just always been who they are. And now they're just like, well, we have another opportunity to make money.
Well, they've tried to crack down on membership sharing as well recently. You know, you got to match your photo to get in.
This is just very much like indicative to me of late stage capitalism, where you don't actually get any like actual improved or enhanced service. You know, like it's like when Netflix went to the tiered system with the commercials and stuff. You didn't get anything extra for you
just paid more.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just paid more. All right, before we move on, people are upset by this hours change. Should they be, or should they just pony up?
Just go to QFC like the rest of us peons, you know?
Well, I'll see you all in the parking lot waiting.
Right.
Waiting to get in with the rest of the plebes.
I will wave at you.
All right, on to the big story of the week. If you are stuck in traffic and turn your head to the right and see a car with no driver, do not be alarmed. A fleet of Waymo's driverless electric cars is expected to arrive in Seattle this week. It's a little bit of an exaggeration at this point because they won't be autonomous right away. You'll see drivers behind the wheel for a bit. The company needs to do more testing, and they still have some permitting to work out before people can ride in these vehicles. I think being in one of these might feel a little bit like an amusement park ride right now. You know, are you excited to jump in a driverless car?
Not in Seattle. So I almost got in one in Phoenix, but I like chickened out at the last minute because I was just like, I'm not sure. Like existentially, this is a big change. I don't know. But I feel like in Phoenix, you have like the perfect circumstances, right? You've got wide streets. It's barely ever raining.
Sure.
All of the lanes are clearly marked. There's just like a lot of room and a lot of sunlight. Whereas here in Seattle, I feel like it is not optimal driving conditions basically ever.
Sure.
Right. And so like my Subaru has these little, type like smart features, right? Like lane detection. Like if it detects that you've gone out of a lane, it'll try and move you back into the center of the lane. It does not work in Seattle. Like if you're trying to drive on I-5 at night when it's raining, like that lane assist is the lane assist is like, yo, you're not in the lane. And it's like, yes, I am.
Yo, you're on your lanes. You're on your own here.
Yes.
Did you call a Waymo and then just be like, Wayno?
No.
Oh,
this was a friend. We were like trying to get to the airport, and a friend was like, oh, I'm going to call a Waymo. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'll go with you. No, I don't think I can do that.
Marcus, would you get in one?
No, I'm not an early adopter of technology in general, but particularly, as it pertains to autonomous driving cars. Like I don't know. I was looking up I think in May they had a recall of 12,000 or so. You have complaints in LA about the noise pollution because they're just constantly honking and beeping. You had an issue in LA as well where one of the cars, I think, malfunctioned and it was like driving in circles.
I saw that one. It was like my robot vacuum cleaner when it gets upset.
So I just don't understand the appeal here in the city, to be honest with you. I mean, and also it's more expensive on average than a Lyft.
Business Insider says a ride without a driver is 41% more expensive than the average Lyft ride. Which are already in so
insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Just paying for the privilege to not make small talk with your driver. Right?
Well, and honestly, I bet this appeals to a lot of people. You don't have to deal with another human. We have really turned into
that's a healthy society, let me tell you.
No, we really have. Since COVID, I think people have really glommed on to the idea that I don't want to interact with people and I don't have to.
That's my favorite part, is hearing your Lyft driver's like weird story. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I always hear everyone's like full life story whenever I'm in a Lyft.
I always appreciate my drivers. And most of the time they're listening to NPR, which I also kind of find funny.
Very meta. Very meta.
Yeah, right. Well, right now it's still illegal in Seattle to have an autonomous car without an operator in the front seat. So again, these things won't be truly driverless for a while. The reason it's more expensive, of course, is because it's new tech, right? You're paying for the advanced tech.
Right. But I just have a question, and maybe Jane, who is actually asking for this, right? I mean, do we need this industry here right now in Seattle? What?
I think there's an argument It is more accessible in a way. And I mean, I think here's the thing about any new tech, but especially self-driving cars. It's going to work well insofar as you can completely overhaul the system. It's like as long as you have people being bad at driving cars on the road with a Waymo, that's going to make the Waymo worse and have to adapt. But if we had like an entire grid of just Waymo cars, I bet they'd be pretty good because they could like, interact with each other and understand like where the others are.
Sounds too
This is
dystopian.
I know.
Sounds too dystopian for me.
We need to make the entire city autonomous vehicles, like gated out. So the entire city just runs on electric autonomous vehicles. I don't know. I would be
Can
down
you
for that.
imagine an autonomous car trying to navigate Pike Place Market, which you should not be able to drive in? That would be hilarious.
But to your point, Jane, the executive director of the Epilepsy Foundation, Washington, says autonomous vehicles provide safe, reliable transportation. I could imagine if all right, maybe I'm sick. Maybe I need to go to the doctor. Maybe I don't want to expose my nice Uber driver. I can just try to wipe down that thing on my. I know when we get into microbes, it's a whole another level, but maybe I can feel like I'm doing a little bit of justice there by not exposing somebody. I don't know. Will Seattle be a stress test? We already talked about how the roads are just not pleasant for actual drivers here. You've got the traffic conditions, and then you've got the stoned drivers all over the place.
Well, didn't this spokesperson for the company already say that they have issues in the rain, at least for right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. Are you confident that before these things are driverless, they'll have the kinks worked out?
no, I'm
Absolutely
All
not.
right. Are you listening, Waymo? Get it together before you enter this town driverless.
I mean, isn't it like most tech, it ships broken and they try to fix it along the way? I don't know.
Beta
Whatever.
testing. All right.
Anyway.
Let's talk more about some cars, but ones with real drivers this time. Seattle Times FYI guy Gene Balk was digging into the data about car ownership this week. Turns out between 2017 and 2023, the number of cars in Seattle remained effectively unchanged, despite the fact that the number of households in the city grew by more than 35,000. Whether or not you own a vehicle, you two, do you think it makes sense to own a vehicle here?
That's a layered question. It
is.
So my partner and I, we do have a family car. We were thinking about purchasing another car, and so we literally just sort of did the breakdown.
Ooh.
And so you get factor in insurance, you factor in registration, you factor in maintenance costs, you factor in gas and everything else, and we just decided it was be cheaper for the one who didn't have the car to like either go do Lyft or Uber.
Such a smart analysis you did.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, it was mainly her, to be honest with you. But yes, I'll give her the credit for
Fair.
the most part.
Okay.
But I think particularly depending on where you live, like we live in Beacon Hills, very centrally located. We can get downtown easily. You can get to the U District very easily. So it didn't make sense for us. It just made more sense to rely on public transportation for right now.
Yeah. What about you, Jane?
Would you believe that I did the same analysis before we got a second car? We were a one-car household for a very long time, and my partner primarily drove the car to work, and I was a bike commuter everywhere. And it wasn't until I got injured and could not walk more than a few feet at a time that I was like, ooh, we might need that second car.
Right.
Because, I mean, bus lines have been cut near our house. I think, like, the closest thing is probably to walk 20 minutes to light rail, which is, fine under normal circumstances. But if you are not able-bodied, that can be difficult.
Sure.
Certainly.
And then, there are always times of like running errands, like getting groceries is much easier in a car.
Sure is.
Trying to get out to the mountains, pretty much impossible unless you just want to take, Trailhead Direct?
Trailhead Direct,
It's like
man.
you can hike Mount
You can
Si,
link buses
and that's it.
all the way to Deception Pass if you want to.
Oh.
It's a lot harder
It's the
to not have a
time.
vehicle.
Yes, and especially, if you're like out in an event late at night and you are trying to come home at like 9 or 10 p.m., it's like it can take a really long time. So
Yeah.
ultimately, I think it makes sense for a lot of people. But yeah, if you're like in a centrally located neighborhood and you're mostly just sticking around like central parts of town, you can definitely make it work.
We had two cars for years, but when one of them died, we were just, we just decided. We knew that it was just not a good idea to have a second vehicle. And you know what? It's funny because the one vehicle costs us enough.
Right.
You know, like I don't even know how we paid for the second one, to be honest, now that we've only got one, and it's still like we still don't have any money. I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, if you have a vehicle, which both of you do, what is the most costly part for you? Is it gas? Is it insurance? Is it registration? I know I made a joke about where's Tim Iman when you need him, which was really just a joke, but I did just get my registration renewal, and my God.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jane. Like for me, I'd say, and just even in terms of opportunity cost, it is parking, particularly. Like, have you tried to park?
Parking. I have a parking space, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, have you tried to park in Capitol Hill recently?
I never drive anywhere where I have to park like
Dude,
that.
you can kayak to Vashon Island faster than you can find a parking spot.
Yeah,
okay.
it's sick. It's sick.
I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
Fremont is becoming that way too. Like I tried to go to a book talk at Charlie Square Books. Shout out them. They are great.
Yes.
But I circled the block for like 30 minutes, and I used to live in Fremont, and I was like, all my old spaces are not available. And I mean, I felt very old and crotchety about the whole thing. But it is. There are so many parts of town now that are so dense, which is wonderful. But you know, it really dissuades parking, and it makes it tougher. And I mean, I think also if you're a street parker like I am, you run the risk of theft or vandalism or whatever.
Hit and run.
Like,
When I parked on the street, my car was hit twice in like 2 months. My insurance company was just like, forget you.
No, they just took out our side mirror, but luckily we were able to like duct tape it back together just so.
Seriously.
But it's a real thing about living in a city where it's kind of inconvenient to have a car on the street.
Yeah. Gene says that Seattle has more cars compared to some other major cities. Seattle's rate of cars apparently per 100 households is more than double that of New York City, which we all know is a ridiculous place to own a vehicle. Transit just makes sense in New York. I never drive in New York City. What do you make of this intriguing stat from Gene's piece? In 2023, around 9 out of 10 Seattle's carless homes were rental units.
I was thinking that if you rent, you are more likely to be in a dense neighborhood. And if you're in a dense neighborhood, you might be less likely to need a car because you have better access to transit, and you know, maybe you're just in a more centrally located neighborhood. But not necessarily, but I would imagine that there's some correlations there.
That's thoughtful. Yep, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
And to your, to piggyback on what you're saying, like I think if you rent, you probably maybe don't have the financial wherewithal of a homeowner, and so you have more limited income, and that sort of cost analysis very much comes into play. About
you're
having
already
a car.
probably making trade-offs if you're living in a rental unit in this city. That's for sure.
Yeah,
cars are expensive.
Yeah. This all begs the question: if people have skyrocketed and the cars have stagnated, where the heck is all this traffic coming from? Why are Seattle commutes wall-to-wall traffic?
Bellevue.
Yeah. It's got to be all those, wayward Waymo, tests that are going on. They're just,
All right, moving on to our next topic. We know you turn to Seattle now for important news and perspective, which is why we could not ignore the big bust at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport this week. Customs and Border Protection found more than 11,000 counterfeit Labubu dolls valued at approximately $513,000. If we're doing the basic math here, that's more than $40 a Lafufu, which is what they call the knockoffs. This is giving me Beanie Baby flashbacks, and not in a good way, you two. Honestly.
Okay, can I put in a pitch here that my parents just moved here? Welcome my parents to the Puget Sound. They brought all of my Beanie Babies from childhood. My dad is convinced they are worth something. So if you're looking to buy Beanie Babies, please get in touch.
Man. That is old school.
They have all the tags. Like they're in okay condition. We have some of the teeny beanies that you could get at McDonald's back in the day. So
you may be able to afford a second rental property.
Oh my God! Yeah,
great,
I could become a landlord.
If you're not familiar, a Labubu is a little doll, sometimes used as an accessory. They're similar to Beanie Babies or Troll dolls or Monchichis. They've got big eyes, pointed ears. They're sharp tooth and a little mischievous smile. And here's the twist, and this might be the secret, right? An official Labubu comes in a blind box. So you buy it and you don't know what's inside, which kind of adds to the intrigue. And they cost $28.99, which just sounds like a damn Parent Trap for me.
Well, so wait, why are the Lafufus more expensive than the Labubus?
Good
What's
question.
going on there?
Wow.
Maybe people are down. Okay. Here's all right.
Break it down.
Maybe it's because the fakes are actually like more fun. Oh. Maybe they have different, maybe they're not really trying to be specific Labubu's.
Okay, so are any of you Labubu people or like
No.
have Labubu's?
No, those things
No.
look like they have been spawned from hell.
I saw somebody walking across the street that looked just intentionally, just like their Labubu.
Oh.
That was hanging off their backpack.
That's very
Same
cute.
hair. Same look.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of remind me of like trolls from the 90s, which also freaked me out when I was a kid. So I knew that I was not the target audience for Labubu. But I mean, to each their own.
They're also really red hot right now. Celebrities all over the globe are sporting these things. Kim Kardashian has one. Cher has one. Cher.
She's still alive?
It's not a Monchichi. It's not a Monchichi. There's demand. So of course, there'll be knockoffs. Have you bought a knockoff anything? I bought a knockoff Kate Spade back in the day.
Oh.
That's a handbag for people who don't remember anymore.
So I went to private school, and there used to be for high school Kennedy Catholic, and there were sneakerheads there because we had a dress code.
Of course, yeah.
And so people used to, their $200 Jordans, and so I could never afford that. So I would get the Gordons, as they were called. And they would last about a week before, they
Gordons.
wasn't so great.
That's a painful memory. Bad news for fans of Lafufus, which apparently there are people who like to buy these fake ones on purpose. The 11,000 plus caught at the airport are going to be destroyed, according to Customs and Border Patrol. Is that harsh? Should we let people buy those Lafufus? I mean, brand protection you can't, but is there a more creative way to get rid of them?
Why not Toys for Tots or something? Are you like giving them, to a
That's
kid's
right.
shelter or something?
When they ship off all the wrong team football jerseys after
There you
the
go.
game.
I feel like that CBP officer that gets assigned to burn those dolls, like, get ready to be cursed, my friend.
Yeah.
Like, that just feels like it's a way to get cursed.
It's
Yeah.
a modern era, Fahrenheit.
You're just tempting fate by burning all those Lafufus.
Lafufu souls are going to be on fire and
Yes.
they'll haunt you. So
God.
Oh my God! All right, the hole in the ozone is just going to open up,
I'm
and
saying,
suck you
I just-
away.
probably, yeah.
All right, one last thing before we go. Another installment of Animals in New Places on Casual Friday. We talked last week about how dogs are now allowed on Washington State ferries. How about a catio, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a patio for your cat to avoid them wandering off on their own outdoors, getting lost, or worse, getting attacked by a coyote or something. Seattle Times took a local catio tour to see the wide-ranging structures our city has to offer, from a, check this out, 12-story, $9,000 catio in Ballard to a small DIY operation in Greenwood. I could think of a few things I would rather spend $9,000 on, but I'll ask, is it worth it?
I mean, I think it depends on how much you love, your pet.
I love them both. I just don't think I'm going to give them a $9,000 playpen.
Love doesn't cost a thing, isn't that the whole? Whatever. Yeah, I don't. As somebody who just paid $1,300 for his dog to settle a little dispute between my dog and another's, Yeah, no, I take that to heart. I thought $1,300, I wanted to cry. So $9,000, my God,
ridiculous, right? Yeah. I don't know, man. We're dealing with different problems. If you can spend $9,000 on a cat,
I want to tell you, the diagnosis is you have too much money. I don't know.
Please send it to me directly. I don't have a cat. I don't know that I would want to spend that much, but I do know that it's supposed to be something that cats love. I don't know that we've ever talked about this before, but in my pre-journalism life, I was a cognitive science researcher, and one of my colleagues was studying animals, and she's a cat behaviorist. And
wow.
She swears by, I think she just got a catio not too long ago, and she sings praises about the merits of a catio for cats' mental stimulation and health. So, I mean, I think to some extent, if you can afford it, great. It seems like they'll be happy. But also, yeah, it's a tall order. That's a lot of money to spend on
That's pretty
cat
fancy
enrichment.
cage for a cat.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I have 2 cats, and I think one of them would really be down for this. He's kind of a scaredy cat, but he likes to be outside, right? But I have another one who's a little bit more fearless and definitely enjoys her time in the bushes, so she would probably not respond as well. Cynthia Chomos, who founded Catio Spaces in 2014 and has spent about $20,000 on her catio, told the Times it was about peace of mind. Again, I don't know what kind of peace of mind. We're different pieces of mind. She says a trip to the vet is $2,000 or $3,000 in some cases, so she thinks she's saving money that way.
I mean, that's like girl math, but I'm into it. You know?
Your cat supports you 100%, Cynthia. Of course, all of Seattle's dogs are laughing at the cats because they are headed to the ferry.
Yes. And on the light rail now, too.
And on the light rail. They're headed to the light rail and onto the ferry. All right, we're going to leave it there. Marcus Harrison Green is the founder of the South Seattle Emerald and publisher at Hinton Publishing. Jane C. Hu is a freelance science journalist. Thanks, Jane.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Marcus.
Always an awesome time.
Thanks for listening to Seattle Now. Today's episode was produced by Vaughn Jones. It was edited by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez. Our production team also includes Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, Andy Hurst, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you soon.